All right, guys. I'm going to give you a second video like Megan asked. This time I decided to do things slightly different. Before, if we were in class, I would love to, everyone does not. I'm realizing that may not always be possible because maybe your fabric isn't big enough to tie a knot in. So here I did a really nice drape with this purple table runner that I have, and made sure that there's a high point, it dips down, a slightly lower point. So I have a really fun composition. Again, I can crop in if I want, right? Play around. This fabric isn't nearly as big as the striped fabric that fell. Dramatic fall, also cat toy. So there's some leeway in here. There's no stripes, but there's definitely some wrinkles, some crinkles. I picked a dark fabric in case you don't have a light fabric at home. I'll show you how to do it. I'm very obviously working in the daylight for this demonstration, but I still put on a directional light, which actually I'm thinking I might decide to change because when it's over here, you get light from the window. So it's kind of not getting the contrast. So I might move my light over here. Actually, I think that's better. And I will, if needed, I can post a picture. So now the flow of light's a little more consistent from the window. Marcus had a great question, which was, do I need a light on it? I would recommend it because without, you just don't have as much contrast to work with. Use the best, light options that you can. And what I would also recommend is, let's say I'm starting my drawing during the daytime, light changes throughout the day. So if you're not sure how it's going to look at night, it could look very different. Let's say you want to work at night too. Take a photo and work from the still life and from the photo. Okay. The other drawing is still up. And I've got another drawing started right here. My surface is still a little grainy, again, because of my studio wall, even though there's like 4 sheets of paper underneath. And I still don't have my tripod, so you could see my super fancy setup. So what I'm going to do is get you guys set up on here and start this drawing. I'm definitely going to zoom out a little bit. Sorry, I took over the cat's box. My cat likes to sleep in here. It's just she has her own box. And I'm going to try to maybe get more of the drape, whereas the other drawing was really up close. So I'm going to start with the highest point here. And I want to get the triangle shape. That's like right here. Well, then it's kind of nice with this setup is I can do triangle, triangle, triangle. This is classy. Sorry guys, just dropped the phone. Remote learning, let me tell you. It comes up. Now obviously with this fabric, it's not quite as curvy as the other fabric because when you have a knot, it automatically puts curve in, but that's fine. I can decide that this is the length. I can check this side by this side. It's about 1.5. I don't know, actually. Always forget this. I have my drawing stick from way back when. It's, I think, 18 inches. So it's like my favorite drawing stick. I use it for the really big drawings I do. Bring this down. I can always check the angle. I'm going to follow this line up. Come up here, measure across. So I'm going to get a really interesting composition here. Just like I did with the other drawing, I'm going to then pull out some of the bigger folds. And actually this is good. It'll give me a chance to show you a few things that we didn't get to do over here or on the other drawing. I'm just, again, going to pull out some of the sections, just just like we did in the other one. This kind of really cool like spiral flow that's not going to look right as I draw it in this way, but I will come back to it. And again, I'm already a pretty angular drawer, so if your drawing is a little bit looser than this, that's fine. Okay. Get this fabric that comes down. I see that there's a big, let me bring this over just a little bit more. A big section here. I can actually tell that this is not big enough, but I'm not gonna like freak out about it right now. Oh, that's why. Silly me. I didn't bring this over correctly. I can bring this over a little bit wider. I was wondering why my line looked wrong. So this line here swoops up into the line here. I kind of get like a little keyhole shape right here. Excuse me, allergies are kicking up again today. Wonder when they're going to decide to stop. Swoop is here. And then this just eventually comes down. Okay, so if I then again show you, and please take your time, I'm just going really quick. Here's my drawing. There's my still life. So like this line that I followed right here that went up into here, that was this line right here. Okay, and I actually forgot like this little loopy part. Okay, now what I'm going to do before I start erasing is I'm actually going to come back into this curvy spot right here, which is right here. Right here on the still life. Okay, and what I'm going to do, see if my Mono Zero eraser is here. If not, it means Noodle probably knocked it off last night. Oh, it's right here. I have to apologize to my cat for blaming her. Oh, here's a little Noodle cam for you guys. Hi, Noodle. Hi, babe. Do you want to say hi to the students? Say hi, guys. Hi, guys. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see how I do this. And I'm using my Mono Zero. And I carved a straight line here, and what I'm actually going to do first is I'm going to kind of carve it out and find the curve. So this curve definitely comes down, up, and then down a little bit. So you can see how I'm playing with that line that was here, come up a little more angled, and it flattens down and then comes around. And if you need to, like, there's light here, shadow here, we'll erase that out. And then I'm going to follow this line. And again, I'm going to go through and soften it out just a little bit. Sometimes even with a harder eraser, you've got to clean it. Here I have kind of another piece of fabric. And when you go through like this, it just gives things that little bit of life back. I'm going to stretch this out, correct that proportion. And then this line kind of fades into this one. So the line moves from inside line to outside line and back and forth. And then this line needs to move over now that I have that correction. And then all I do is come in with a little bit of charcoal. push that back. I hope that made sense and I wasn't blocking the camera. Okay, now as I'm erasing, on the other demonstration, we had stripes. So you have little sections of form. If you have to draw a plain piece of fabric, you have really big expanses of form. This might be easier for some, harder for others. Okay, I wish I could tell you what was stronger and what wasn't. It just kind of depends. Here. So I'm going to start right here in my drawing. And you can see that there's a highlight, there's a shadow and a highlight. And the reason that is that this area and this area bump out a bit and they catch the light. So when I form it, I'm going to move my hand like this, kind of up and then down and then back up and down again. Almost like an M shape. So I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to work just like we talked about in class. I'm going to work horizontal and vertical. I'm going to do a little bit of erasing out first. I'm going to keep what is a physical edge here. But then I'm also going to start pulling. Now, you're going to end up erasing out, adding charcoal back in, vice versa. Like, that never stops with charcoal. I'm going to really work on pulling out brightness here, keeping that edge, physical edge sharp. If you need to, while you're at home, where's my brush I use? Oh, it's right here. I have a big paintbrush that I use to kind of wipe off my drawings, get the eraser parts off. You can also just blow on your drawing like we couldn't in class. So you can see here, I kind of started that curve up. It does start to flatten out a bit here at the top. And then I get a little more light, especially down here. So then I'm going to come in from this direction. It's not quite as dark up here, or excuse me, quite as bright up here, so I'm going to have charcoaling that back in. Let me get a smaller piece of charcoal. Big pieces are a hot commodity right now because I don't have a ton of charcoal at home. Come in here, keep my edges nice and neat. And again, if you don't have a ton of, because there's a layer of charcoal here, when you blend with your fingers, the oils won't sit quite as quickly. So you can play around with that a little bit more. So I'm not adding charcoal, and I was just fixing my mistake, correcting my edges. One thing to keep in mind is that your cloth will only ever blend to this value. Your chamois cloth is actually going to wipe charcoal away. So don't try to get darker and blend with your cloth or your chamois cloth. Okay? So hopefully what you can see if I pick you up again is it's starting to create the form. And it's not super blended, and it doesn't have to be, because our fabric is a little wrinkled. The one thing also that you want to do, let me see if I can change this so it focuses on my hand. It's not long enough to do that, but squint at your drawing so you don't see all the tiny wrinkles. We will talk about tiny wrinkles later. So I'm going to come in here, do the same thing here. Again, my light source is over here, so don't be surprised if you get a lot of stuff on the left being lighter. Oh, where that little spot happened. Little piece of paper pulled up. You can just charcoal it back in. And I clean off my erasers on my wall a lot. I'm going to kind of pull up at this direction with my hand. It's definitely lighter down here, and it fades off into a shadow. And again, like I said before, you don't need to get to the super bright stuff to start with, right? Hopefully you are starting to see like the different lines. I kind of forgot the little like crevice that was made here, so I drew that in real quick. Now I can come through even more once I get some midtone values and start to pull out. One of the reasons we're not going to add any white to this is actually because it would turn everything very gray because of the amount of charcoal that's on here. And I'm totally fine if you want to do a striped fabric or a plain fabric. That's up to you. I know I said have something with pattern, but I'm realizing again that not everybody has something at home like that. Just by using value, I just added in this little crevice right here, the start of it. It's right here. It's very subtle. And already the drawing's starting to come together, okay? One thing I'll do very briefly, because I'm like petrified my phone's going to shut off and I'm going to lose this demo, is I'm also going to address the shadow over here. So I have a shadow from the light right here. And again, I know that my setup does not have a light background. If you needed to, you could just put up a few pieces of drawing paper if that helps you, especially if you have a darker fabric. I'm just slightly lightening it because I have a dark brown. And if you're like, Lindsay, does, purple fabric actually get this light? It does, because it's having light put on it. That's why we want to be specific about putting a light source on our drawing, especially if you have a darker fabric. And just that little bit did a ton of drawing. I can come over here into the negative space here. I love this little peak of wall on the left-hand side. And this is a little bit darker, but I could pull it out for now just for the texture. Okay, so as I realized you couldn't see that, but there's one of my other drawings to the side, my drawing. But a lot's already happening, and what I'm going to do is I'll do more work, and I'll film more demos for you. So I hope this has helped. I'm going to get this up on Blackboard for you nice and quick, and we'll go from here. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.